Good afternoon, everyone, and good morning, Komai. um, so I'm so happy to tell you all that today's guest lecturer is a very special and close friend of mine, cô Nguyễn Xuân Nhất Kim Mai, who is a very inspiring and talented teacher, at least to me. And she's now teaching and based in Manchester, UK. To make today's section more fun and interactive, I kindly invite you to listen very carefully and then feel free to ask questions. Not only about reading strategies, but also anything about living and studying in another country, say like in the UK, even in the US and Australia, anywhere outside Vietnam. All right. And now the floor is yours. Let's welcome Go Mai to our class.
Thank you so much, Gotham. Can you hear me okay, everybody? Okay. Right. It's my pleasure to be here today to join Gotham and everybody in your reading lesson. Yeah. Thank you, Gotham, for the very kind introduction. I probably just share with you some of the tips about how to improve reading skills. So hopefully they will be useful for you as you work on your reading abilities as well as other English skills as well. Right. Let me share my screen. I have prepared some simple slides to go with my my talk. Can you see my slides? Great, thank you. So I was before going into some of the reading tips that have worked for me when I learned reading. I would like to share a little bit about myself. As Gautam said, I am an English teacher and teacher educator. I'm currently living and working in Manchester, England. I am also a lifelong English learner because I think for me, I have to keep developing my English skills all the time, even when I teach and when I work with my students. I am also very proud to be a past student of Haflis, and Gautam and I have been really good friends since not just since Haflis time, but since our high school time. So we're very proud to be keeping our friendship alive and well for a long time. It's a very, very lucky thing for both of us. Let's move on to talk about reading in English. Before I share some of the tips and things that I have done to improve my reading skills, I would like everybody to share a little bit about what you think about reading in English. Can you please complete this sentence? Reading in English is, and then type your response in the Zoom chat. Reading in English is blah 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 for you. I'll give everybody about a couple of minutes to think and complete the sentence. I think we just said reading in English is understanding a paragraph, a passage, or context in English. So it's the thing that you do when you read in English, right? Yeah, that's a very comprehensive description of what reading is. What the steps that are involved when we read in English. Um, could you also share about some of your feelings when you read in English? For example, for me, reading in English is challenging sometimes, but mostly fun. Oh yeah, we've got another response from Bang Huan. Reading in English is a great way to explore different cultures and gain knowledge from around the world. Wow, that is a very, very thoughtful response. And I can't agree more with you, Huang, that when we read in English, we are able to learn about different cultures and different ways of doing things, and we can gain a lot of knowledge. So it's another way of broadening our knowledge. What about others? What does reading in English mean to you? Does anybody find reading in English challenging or sometimes a bit difficult or even boring? It's okay to have all the different feelings and experiences when we read in another language, right? I'm asking you about reading in English, probably what you are doing or having to do a lot now, and it's probably not always easy to read and understand a paragraph or a passage like Bang Wei said, or context in another language. So it could be challenging sometimes. That's probably why you are having this course, this class with Kotam to learn about improving your reading skills in English. Does anybody want to share your thought as well? Like Bang Nguyên and Bang Huân? Anybody else? Another response from Dum. Reading in English challenges my mind and expands the limits of what I thought I could understand. Wow. It's a journey that builds both patience and confidence. Wow, this is an excellent response, a very good one. Um, it really shows, it really tells us your journey um, when you learn to read in English. And I think it's probably very similar to many of us who have been reading in another language. Um, it is a challenge, but then it's a challenge that we would like to accept because, like what you said, Dom, it expands the limits of what we thought we could do. It's a journey that needs patience and confidence. And the more you do it, I think, the more challenging that you accept, the more practice that you will do, and then the more confidence that you have in your reading skills. So that is a very, very good response. Thank you so much, everybody, for sharing your thought on what reading in English is for you. Um, and I think it's probably Kutam will agree with me as well. These are very, um, very excellent, very, very good reflections on what reading is. So with that in mind, just keeping in mind what you think about reading now as an English learner. Um, um, I would now like to share with you some of the tips that I have used for myself when I learned how to read and how to read well to become a good reader in English. Having shared all of these feelings that you have for English reading as well. So I have 3 tips to share. So as you listen to me, you can think about whether or not these tips will work for you. Right. The first thing I would like to share is to become a good reader, to become good at reading. In my experience, the first thing that we need to do is to keep reading. Read. You can't. I think it's similar to other English skills as well. You can't really become good at them unless you practice a lot. And in terms of practicing reading, I have two main maybe not pieces of advice, but 2 main things that I think have helped me to read to practice reading more effectively. The first thing is to read what you like. So think about a genre of text that you like reading. Could be a story, could be a poem, could be a novel. It could be even just fiction, like non-fiction text. Anything that you enjoy reading will be really anything that you enjoy knowing more about will be very good for you to keep reading and keep your interest in reading. The second thing when practicing reading is to read materials at your level, which means those materials shouldn't be too difficult or too easy for you. If something is too easy, then it's probably not too motivating for you, and you probably wouldn't learn like a lot of vocabulary, for example, when you read it. But if something is too challenging or too difficult for your level, then it might be it might happen that you won't enjoy reading it because there's too many difficult words, for example. So one thing that I've often advised my students when they practice reading to do is to look for graded readers or reading materials that have been categorized according to levels of difficulty, and then you can choose a reading material that is most suitable for your level when you look at some of the graded readers materials. Here. Right. So this web page contains some graded reader that are categorized according to the CFR scale A1, A2, B1, B2, C1, and C2. And depending on your current level, you can choose which materials that you would like to read, for example. And there's also different genres here for you to choose from, stories or like history stuff. So different things that have been rewritten or revised to suit different reading levels. There's also one really useful thing that hang on. That have been suggested for readers when they use these free graded readers materials is a 5-finger rule to find a good reading level for you. So the advice is you choose a book, you open any page and read it, just one page, just any page, just read it, just that first page. On your hand, count the number of new words on that page. If the number of new words is between 0 and 1, the book is probably too easy for you. If the number of new words is 2 and 3, the level is perfect. 4 is the challenge level, which means that the book is probably a bit difficult for you, but you can try it if the book seems really interesting. If there are more than 5 new words on that page in the book is probably too difficult, and you probably won't enjoy reading it as much. So you can use this 5-finger rule as you use this website as well to choose a book that fits your level and that you like reading. Okay, so that is yeah, thank you, Kutam, for sharing the link on the chat. So that is my first tip about practicing reading, and choose to read what you like. First and foremost, the book has to be about something that you like. Try to bring in try to read things that interest you as much as possible. And secondly, look for materials that are at your level of English, so you will enjoy reading it as well as practicing your reading skills at the same time. Okay, so that's the first tip. Does anybody have any question? Has anybody used graded readers before? Or would you like to try it? Maybe? Hopefully, yes. Yeah, so as I said, just keep reading to practice your reading skills, reading as much as possible. The second tip, I think something that really goes hand in hand with good reading skills. Hang on, wait. Is the importance of expanding your vocabulary as you read. Because one of the most important factors that make reading less challenging is when you have a large vocabulary size. You will find, for example, on each page of a book, you will find less vocabulary that you don't know. You find that you know a lot of vocabulary, and the more vocabulary that you know, the more you'll be able to understand the text, and the more joy that you can feel from reading it with ease and with less difficulty. So one of the things that you can do to know how large your vocabulary is to take like a vocabulary size test to decide how much your vocabulary is at this stage, and what level of vocabulary you want to reach, to improve to broaden, to expand your vocabulary. After this, I will share this presentation with Gautam, so you can use this vocabulary test, which has been developed by some really good researchers in vocabulary learning, to test your vocabulary size. And I think one interesting thing about this test is that when we take the test, we have to specify what is our first language. So the test is tailored to learners of English who speak different first languages. So if we are Vietnamese, then the test will be tailored to Vietnamese speakers of English. And you will see that some of the items in the test will ask you what the meaning of this word is, for example, in Vietnamese. It's quite an interesting vocabulary test to take, just to know how much your vocabulary is and what else you can do to improve it. Another thing in terms of expanding your vocabulary is to I think this is probably something that you have done a lot in the class in this course with Kotam, that is doing vocabulary exercises and activities. In my experience, that apart from reading to improve vocabulary, doing exercise and activities that are focused on vocabulary practice can also be really useful. Let me share with you a website that I often use to practice vocabulary. Has anybody used this website before? The British Council Learning English website. They have different activities to practice different language skills, and also language systems like grammar, vocabulary, pronunciation. Within the vocabulary section, again, the activities are divided, are organized according to different levels: A1, A2, B1, B2. And then depending on your level, you can choose which materials, which activities you would like to do. The vocabulary activities are also organized according to topics. So again, depending on your interest, maybe if you want to learn more about vocabulary to describe clothes, colors, drinks, everyday objects, then you can choose activities to do. There's also vocabulary games, which I think are quite interesting to do as well if you like online games or video games. And the final thing in terms of expanding your vocabulary, and I used to do this a lot. I'm not sure if anyone has done it before as well. Is to keep a vocabulary notebook. I think I'm not sure if Kotam did that before. I think she might have. It's a very old-fashioned way of learning vocabulary. You didn't, Kotam? It's to keep like a record of every new word that you have been learning from different sources, from reading, from the vocabulary exercises, even from watching TV or movies or listening to music. Any word that potentially is useful or interesting to you could be recorded in this notebook. So you can have a look at it again when you have time, when you can review the vocabulary that you have learned. Yeah, it could be like a physical notebook, or it could just be like a note that you take on your phone. Nowadays, you have so many different digital tools to help you with your learning. So yeah, just the key thing is to keep a record of the vocabulary that you have been learning throughout each academic year and also throughout your university life. And you'll be amazed at how much your vocabulary size has expanded over time. There's a comment in the chat. Okay. Yeah, right. It's vocab journals or notebooks are, I think, quite common in our time, right, Kotam? Because everything is still was still very simple back when we were learning English. We did not have a lot of digital tools to work with. Yeah. Okay. So second thing when it comes to good reading, becoming a good reader, is to keep expanding your vocabulary. and this I think is it's a lifelong process, because there's always new word that in English that we need to learn, and so vocabulary learning is very, very important. Okay, that is my second tip. Does anybody have any questions or any comment? Does anybody also keep a vocab journal or notebook like me and Gotam? Or how do you can anybody share with us how you often learn vocabulary, English vocabulary? What are some of the things that you have done to learn vocabulary in English? That is so great. Nguyen, you have a lot of vocab journals and flashcards. So I imagine you have like a stack of them in maybe at home. Uh-huh. And flashcards. Yeah, flashcards are also very, very useful for learning new vocabulary. I used to use a lot of flashcards as well, especially with words that I feel very difficult for me to remember the meaning of those words. I often use flashcards. Um, does anybody also use sticky notes or post-its just to stick new words everywhere? Can't find any post-it here in front of me, but I used to have a lot of post-it notes where I write new words and their meaning, and I'll stick them around my room or even in the toilet, just so I can see them everywhere I go. So it's a lot of different strategies to improve our vocabulary. Okay. And so let me move on to my third and also my final tip for improving reading skills. So apart from keep practicing reading and expanding vocabulary, the important thing that also helps a lot with my reading skills is writing or talking about what you read with other people. Let me ask you this question first before we talk more about sharing about what we read. It relates to vocabulary learning, the second tip that I mentioned earlier. Does anybody know? Can you type in the chat? To learn a word, we need to encounter it between what and what times? Can you use two numbers to fill in that to fill in those blanks? You can just make a guess, and this doesn't matter if you're wrong. That's okay. I just wanted to know what you think about the frequency of encountering a new word. Just make a guess.
3 to 6.
3 to 5. Lo said 3 to 5. Yeah. Gotham said 5 to 7 times. Almost there. It would be more than that. And this is what we mean. Like when we say learn a word, it's like properly learning a word, knowing not just the form, how the word is written, but also the meaning, and not just one meaning, but also different. Maybe like a word may have different meanings. So to really learn a word well, 10 to 20, almost there. Yes.
Alison?
Well, research has shown that we need to encounter a new word between 6 and 16 times. There's a range here because some people, like, yes, you're right, Gautam. Some people have a really good working memory, and so they can really learn new words very quickly. But between 6 and 16 times, like an average, a range, a very common range for learners in general. But at least 6 times, if we want to really learn a word. We have memory of an elephant. And now Lou has changed your mind and you said 1,000 times? Right. So what this tells us is that when it comes to reading and then encountering new words and expanding our vocabulary, we need to have a lot of practice. And one way to really help us learn new words and also read better is to not just read and absorb information, but also to think really critically, thoughtfully about what we have read and write about what we've read and talk about it with other people. So for example, you can write a summary of what you have read. Maybe it's like a story, or if it's a book. Summarize it in writing in your vocab notebook, for example, and try and use as much vocabulary from the reading as possible. It's a very good way, I think, to really internalize, not just reading, but also internalizing what we've read. Or if you don't feel like writing, you can talk about or just tell your summary of what you read to another friend. And not just a summary. You can also go even one step further and really write or share your thoughts on what you've read, whether you like the story or not, and why, and how you have been inspired by what you've read. And again, this can be done in the form of either writing or speaking to a friend. And this is another way to help you use or recycle the vocabulary that you have encountered in what you read. I've got some ideas here in terms of, and I think one thing that could make reading really fun is you don't have to do it alone. You can do it, and I think you should do it with somebody else. There have been some really very, I think, interactive ways of practicing reading together in pairs, or you and another classmate can team up, make a pair, and read a book together and then talk about the book together. Or you both could read a different book or different story, and then you can share and you can talk about what you read with others. So some form of a paired reading like that would be really useful. Or you could even create a little reading club or a reading group of more than 2, maybe 3 or 4 people. Again, you can read the same book, or you can read different books and talk to each other about what you've read. So it's, again, I think after you've read, it's very useful to share and to talk about, or to just write about what you've read with other people, to make reading more interactive, more fun. And think about how you read in Vietnamese as well, in our first language. How when we read about something interesting on the newspaper, for example, we would often like to tell about it to our family and our friends, right? So it's the same with reading in English. I think make it like not just about practicing reading to become better, to have a good mark in your reading exam, but it's more about building your abilities to read in English and to enjoy what you read, and to make reading in English a part of your everyday routine. yeah, so those are the key things I think that could contribute to making us become a good reader in English. So the ultimate goal, I think, would be, as I said early on, for us to enjoy reading, to think about reading as a fun activity. And reading in English, I mean, as a fun activity, not something that we have to do just because we need to answer some questions in an exam or in a test. Yeah, so those are the three key the key tips I would like to share with everybody in terms of improving reading skills. So basically, read, practice reading. Secondly, expanding your vocabulary. And thirdly, writing or talking about what you read with your friends, your family members, with other people. Between all the three tips that I have shared, 1, 2, and 3, I hope you still remember. Which of those tips do you think you will want to try? 1 or 2 or 3? Or maybe if you want to try more than one, you can share with us as well. All 3? Thank you for them. Which 2 would you like to try, Nguyen?
So I think that I'll try to share my readings, what I have read before with my friends. And after that, like I think that the first one that you have mentioned, which is reading more and more, like I usually read in Vietnamese, so I think that reading in English would also be an opportunity for me to enlarge my vocabulary range.
That's right. That is a very good because I think that's a very good point, Nguyen, because I think there's a connection between, reading in Vietnamese and reading in English. And if you already enjoy reading in Vietnamese, then I think it would really connect naturally to you enjoying reading in English as well. So yeah. What genre, what kind of books do you often read in Vietnamese?
I usually read literature, like some stories from some famous writers, and like I also would like to read about like the universe because I'm interested in astronomy also.
Great. Yeah. Great. So I'm sure you can find English books in all of those topics as well to read. Yeah. That's really important that you already know what areas of knowledge that you would like to know more about and to read more about. And then that would help you to decide an English book that you would like to read as well. Thank you so much, Nguyen, for sharing your thoughts. And I like your your avatar, your profile. It's a very cute way of yeah. I've never seen that before. You look like a cute animation character to me. And the eyes, I like the eyes. The eyes are so cute. All right, thanks so much, Nguyen. What about others? Lo, I thought you you unmuted your microphone early on. Did you want to share something? Lo?
I just accidentally turn it on.
Oh, that's all right.
But can I ask a question?
Do you have any? Yeah.
But because I was in the middle of the row, so I didn't listen carefully the questions yet.
I wanted to ask if you would like to try out any of those tips about reading that I've shared For example, keep reading, practice reading as much as possible. The first tip. The second tip is expanding your vocabulary. And the third one is writing or reading or talking about what you read with others.
Actually, I think it's really useful to me because I'm not a good reader. I don't love reading, but when I read, actually this recently when I read something and I want to share it to other people, I think it's really instill in me, make me learn more and get something related to it. For example, recently I read an article about the effects of climate change into businesses, and it's divided into two parts. For one, they believe that it could be danger and it could be harmful to businesses, but for others, it's a new opportunity, because I always thought climate change is something harmful, and I never see the
Right.
side of that is open new door. But when I read it, I realized that is stimulate the renewable use, and it stimulate the development of some companies like Tesla, VinFast. They focus more on electric car, which is really
Right.
a new opportunity to them because people care more about environment, and then they increase their revenues. So yeah, when I share with my friend, they really I think that which give us more time to think about all the sectors too.
Wow, that's amazing, Lo. You've just practiced the third tip, telling us about what you've read. And what you read is also very interesting. The challenges and also the opportunities of climate change. I also find it really interesting that there's like a good side to climate change, right? The opportunities that it brings to businesses. Amazing. Please keep doing that, Lo. Keep reading and sharing about what you read with us, with others. That is a very good way, I think, to improve, to keep improving your reading skills.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
I appreciate it.
Right. Yeah, thank you so much as well. All right. Does anybody else would like to have any questions, or would you like to share? Gautam has got a very good summary, I think. The 3 A's. Yeah, can you talk about the 3 A's, Gautam? Because they're so nicely said.
I love all three sharings from you and while I was listening. The first step to me is acknowledge my vocab level. And more importantly, I have to acknowledge that reading is, at least to me, reading is the most difficult skills. It's, I don't know about you, but reading is more challenging to me than speaking, writing, listening. Yeah, so I have to acknowledge that. And then for number two, step two, I try to acquire more new words and the reading some skills and also strategies that help me read more effectively. And I really like what you share for the third step. Apply by sharing, by talking or writing about it, so that I can internalize what I have just learned.
Wow, Gautam, you have elevated my tips to a higher level. Because I think I'm sure if everybody has realized this, but Gautam is really good at writing and not just writing, but writing creatively and thinking creatively. and coming up with really unique and useful ways of explaining things. So acknowledge, acquire, and apply. The 3 A's of reading strategies, I would say. Yeah. Acknowledge, acquire, apply. Yeah.
So
Maybe enough
everyone,
about reading.
please, I just have to remind very kindly that we are running short of time. So please, if you have any questions about anything, feel free to ask. Goodbye.
If you want to know anything about maybe life abroad, or maybe how to, if anybody's thinking about maybe studying abroad in the future, to know how the weather is like in the UK, please feel free to ask me any questions.
So what's the weather like now?
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Uh,
You wanna say something?
Lady, go
Yeah,
first.
yeah.
Lady first.
Oh, okay.
I'm
So
just curious what the
okay.
weather is like now in the UK.
Yeah, because before I moved to England, I used to live in Australia, and it was always very sunny and very warm. But English weather is very, very unpredictable and very gloomy and very wet. Right now it's about 15 degrees Celsius, and there's some sunshine, but maybe in an hour or so it will turn cloudy and it may rain. So you never know. You always have to bring like a warm jacket, like a light jacket, even if you go out in the summer, in case it gets cold. And an umbrella is a must. Even on a sunny day, it can still rain. So yeah, I don't recommend English weather at all. Hello?
One person told me that the England or the UK is like the boyfriend, the luxury boyfriend, and the Australia is like the husband. So, which do you prefer? What about your opinion?
Wow. What? First, can I ask you to clarify what
Yeah.
that person means by saying that? Yeah.
Yeah. When you go to England, or UK, you see like all the glamorous buildings and everything is so new. So while living in Australia is like peaceful and everything is so calm and yeah, it's like
Wow.
so I'm curious about your opinion.
Wow, that is such a nice comparison. I've never thought about it like that. But I think I would probably agree because I prefer the stability and the warmth of Australia. So, that's what maybe like what a woman looks for in her husband, right? Somebody who's stable, who doesn't change so much. Yeah, but you're right in terms of maybe the history, the architecture, everything is probably more like richer and more glamorous in the UK. But it doesn't mean that you happy with marrying that boyfriend because he may turn his back on you someday. So yeah, if I had to choose between Australia and the UK to live, I would definitely go for life in Australia. Now, I think also in terms of lifestyles, Australian people are a little more relaxed, less serious, I would say. Of course, this is just my own experience, and other people may think differently. But yeah. So it looks like you have some really interesting cultural observations, Lo. Which place would you like to study or visit on in the future, Lo? Do you have a favorite country?
Right now I don't have money, so but in the future, if I'm like wealthy rich, I would like to visit Germany or Switzerland because the vibe.
Right. Yeah.
But I want to go like every country, so it's impossible.
Well, but then you can, you never know where life may take you. So yeah, it's everything is possible, I would say. Opportunities will come, and as long as you are prepared for it, you'll be able to take it and do what you want and go to places that you like. I am quite confident that you will.
And I'm sure that everyone can go far as long as you read a lot, because I read somewhere a quote about reading takes you to places, right?
Exactly. Yeah. So you can travel to different places just by reading a book, reading a story. Yeah. So it all comes back to reading now.
I'm sorry because time flies so fast, but I have to end the sharing section now. And if you have any more comments or questions, please do it through Zalo. And thank you everyone for joining our section today, and especially thank you, Kumai, all the way from Manchester to Hue.
It's my
Have a
pleasure.
blessed day.
It's great to see everybody and to get to talk to some of you as well. Thank you so much for sharing your thought on reading, and you've shared so many interesting ideas, and I am really impressed, Kutam, with all the responses that I've got. You've been so proactive in practicing your English skills, and I am sure that you will go far if you keep practicing like this and working on improving your English skills. All right, bye bye, Kutam, and bye bye, everybody.
Thank you
All
so
the
much.
best.